A community, Fit Body Forever and Fit Body Bootcamp communities. What's up, everybody? Robert Linkul, trainingtheolderadult.com. I hope you're all doing great. Good morning, good afternoon, good day. We are going to dive into a clip that I saw today that is probably one of the best clips that has graced the internet here in recent weeks. It is of Dr. Norton talking about sarcopenia. And I found these really great images on here too from howardlukesmd.com. Don't know exactly if I'm saying that last name right, but I've used his sarcopenia graph and his disability threshold image many, many times, not knowing what article it came from, and then I found the article. So check the description below. You'll be able to find the link to that. But natural kind of normal decline of individuals right around the age 35, we kind of reach our peak, I would say, decondition wise, if you don't do anything. Right around 50, you're going to really start to see this curve where people are going to start losing a pretty large amount of their muscle mass. And with the loss of muscle mass, you are going to see loss of abilities. As you start to lose abilities, you're going to see a decrease in quality of life, okay? Which to an extent is sarcopenia. It's the loss of muscle mass and function. So it's not just atrophy, it's the loss of muscle mass, atrophy, and function. Capabilities of walking, standing, not falling down, doing everything that you're capable of doing, lifting, pushing, pulling, squatting, twisting, all that good stuff, okay? Now, if there's some kind of injury or if there's something else that accelerates that, you'll be able to see, reasons where their normal decline would be accelerated. That's if they have, some type of car accident, something catastrophic, hospitalization, etc., where they're basically rendered immobilized, and etc., bed rest, like that. That will accelerate sarcopenia to such a rate that you'll see a drastic loss in quality of life and function. Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, I'm reading her book right now, Forever Strong, starts off in the very first, chapter talking about how we don't have an obesity issue in this country, that we have a under-muscled or a muscle mass issue. And I could not agree with that more. And the example that we give on this is, if you have a client who's supposed to be 150 pounds, and yet that individual is 200 pounds, but that 200 pounds is full of strong muscle that's capable of doing versus deconditioned old muscle that doesn't really do anything. You're still equal weight, right? You're still 200 pounds. But when you look at this individual muscled versus under-muscled, their capability of living a better quality of life, doing the things that they want to do longer into their life, living higher quality moments of playing with their kids, going on vacation, doing all these things, surviving falls. The more muscle mass that you have, the less likely you are to fill in the blank, any disease, any injury, etc. Muscle mass basically saves lives and increases life expectancy. So I would rather somebody be overweight with additional muscle versus overweight with just extra adipose tissue, body fat, right? So let's dive in here to what Lane has to say and just take pieces of this as we go, and we'll discuss them.
Damaging messages that physicians have given is when people have pain in an area, they tell them to stop doing activity. As you age, you are going to have pain. You can be strong and have pain, or you can be weak and have pain. We see now resistance training decreases the risk of cancer, decreases the risk of heart disease, drastically decreases the risk of sarcopenia, of falls, of broken bones. People talk about calcium, vitamin D. Probably the single best thing you can do to improve your bone density is to resistance train.
All right, let's start there. I completely agree. Words can be very damaging, and doctors, though with the best intentions, can definitely say things that will scar a patient to the point where they are so fearful or so concerned that if they resistance train, they are going to become damaged, they're going to get hurt, they're going to experience some catastrophic injury due to the resistance training, where, as with anything out there, if you start Tai Chi and you get too aggressive and go too often and practice too long in the day, you could get hurt. If you go swimming and you get fatigued, you could drown. If you go for a walk and the walk is too long or there's too many hills, you could get extra sore. I mean, anything that we do to excess is going to and can cause damage. So resistance training is no different. If you come in and just go straight to the heaviest weights, or you train for 3 hours in a row, yeah, of course you can cause damage. But the value, if you do it correctly, and the great return that you can have from it can literally save your life, improve your quality of life, increases bone density, reduces the risk of, as we said, all the diseases, all the injuries, the stronger you are, the more likely you are to survive anything and across the board. So we know this is a big priority. Doctors should be embracing the idea of prescribing resistance training as a form of medication, if you will. Like right on the little, the little tab that says, here's your medication for the week. Go lift weights for 30 minutes, 3 days a week. And if you don't know how, hire somebody that knows what they're doing and allow them to assist you so you don't overdo, you don't get hurt. You learn the proper techniques, you learn the right strategies to do this. So the return of your time invested is all the good things that we want out of your resistance training experience, and not, as we saw on that chart before, any catastrophic injury or anything that is going to stunt your progress in our already naturally declining muscle mass consumption and a retention, I should say, that's already naturally going to decline a little bit from 50 on. We want to slow that, if not just stop the loss for as long as we can until, of course, it's naturally going to happen. You just can't, no matter what. Even if you do take, steroids or whatever it is that you want to take into your 70s, 80s, you're not going to be able to maintain the muscle mass that you had in your 20s and 30s. It's just not possible. However, we can maintain a more solid bone density, a stronger frame, a more capable frame, a stronger frame as we age. A couple of buddies of mine, in this profession, all in decently good muscular shape. And I ask them, can you ever see yourself becoming like an 80-year-old, frail, old, like the typical Mr. Burns old frail body? And they before I can even finish the sentence, they're like, God, no. Like I'm going to be a 80-year-old that other people look at and they go, I want to look like that guy. I want to be that capable. That's how we should all think. But we've accepted that the Mr. Burns body is just what old people look like. And not, well, Arnold is almost 80 years old. He's still riding bikes. He's still out there lifting weights and doing his things. And yeah, is he not as muscular as he was in his 30s? Absolutely. But he still looks pretty damn good. And he's 80 years old, 78 years old, whatever it is. He looks fantastic still. He looks fantastic. He still looks great because he really has never stopped resistance training his entire life. Okay, it's super important.
You'll hear people say, well, I'm 40 or I'm 50 or I'm 60. It doesn't matter. You can still put on muscle, right?
This is absolutely true. It does not matter the age. You can absolutely put on muscle. We saw a new study on this. I have bashed this study, not bashed. I have produced this study to you so many times. I've bashed you over the head with it so many times. Last year, Washington Post, USA Today, all the major, news channels out there and news stations brought to you a article that they called the older adult. This was the 85 and up group. And I want to say the study, I haven't looked at it in a while, had like 30 or 40 participants, 85 to 93, somewhere in there. All of them deconditioned, all of them never lifted weights, all started resistance training, the most basic thing you can imagine. 5 machines, 3 sets of like 8 to 12 reps. They all increased their muscle mass. This late in life, basically showing you 8, 9, 10-year-olds that lift weights can improve their muscle mass. 25, 35, 45-year-olds can increase their muscle mass. 65, 75, 85-year-olds, 95-year-olds can all increase their muscle mass. Resistance training works. It works. It works no matter what the age is. And with the exception of one extremely rare form of MS that I know of, that resistance training would be detrimental. Everything else, it is more beneficial for your health, okay?
Across the street from where I was doing my PhD, they took basically frail elderly people who had trouble like sitting and standing up. I want to say it was a 16-week program. And resistance for them started out just squatting to a high chair. And then slowly they lowered it down. Some of them started using weights as well. They saw significant increases in their muscle mass as
one of the best ways to increase load on your aging body. So if you have a grandparent, a parent, a colleague, whatever, anybody out there that's like, okay, I'm going to try this. Our industry is famous for going, we'll just start with body weight. That's the easiest way. Body weight training is extremely difficult. Pull-ups and chin-ups, less than 1% of our population can actually do a pull-up or a chin-up, okay? That's not a real stat. I just made that up, so don't quote me on that. But there's not a lot. There's not a large percentage of our country that can do a pull-up or a chin-up. I would guess to say more people could do a push-up than a pull-up, but not much more, okay? Not many people can do a full range of motion push-up, chest to the floor, back up. You're all thinking, because you're fitness people, everyone I know can do a push-up because you're surrounded by all the fitness people. So let's say that's 10% of the population of people that exercise. I think it's 14% of our country actually exercises. How many of them actually lift weights or do enough resistance training to be able to do a chin-up or a full range of motion push-up? Not everybody. Most people that exercise just walk on treadmills and use ellipticals, okay? So the ones that actually resistance train, do they even do chin-ups or push-ups? It's not that easy. You know, those are really difficult lifts. And anybody can get on the ground and move their head up and down and do push-ups, right? Push-ups. But I'm talking chest to the floor, full range of motion lockout, dead hang, chin over the bar, return to full hang position. Legit range of motion on those. I'm going to guess 1% of our population can actually do that, okay? A full range of motion squat, probably the thing we would have the most success with doing. Outside of that, bear crawls, planks, push-up holds, inverted planks, side bridges, bear crawls, handstands, right? Anything else that's body weight is extremely difficult. You're like, okay, well, I'll do TRX, suspension strap training. I'll do rows and push-ups and all that on an angle. You're still having to maintain your body weight and hold postures. These are difficult. If you let go, you fall. So you're deconditioned. You have no grip strength. Now we're going to just trust dangling off a strap that you're not going to let go and get hurt. That's what the selectorized machines are built for. There are plenty of videos of me telling you, get away from the machines as soon as you can. When you're at this point where you're just starting off, like Lane's just talking about, this frail elder group of people, which I'm not, that's a real medical term, the frail elder. It's in the textbooks. So people that hear me say that and they're like, oh, we don't like it, they use that term. That is the term. That is the term for somebody over the age of 75 or 80 who is so deconditioned and so frail, and they're an elder, they are considered a frail elder. Just like older adult is not a bad term, senior is not a bad, what do you want us to call you? I mean, that's the challenging part in itself. Understand that older adult, I feel like, means that you're over 50 and you're continuing to grow up. So you're an older adult, right? Like, it just makes sense here. Anyway, okay, frail elder, in this position, where are we going to start at? We can't manipulate your body weight like he's talking about. So let's get on the selectorized machines. Let's just get strong at pushing, pulling on all these controlled levers. Great. Now what? Now I want to try some body weight stuff. So how can I load this? The vest is a great way to load. I will tag in the comment section an article I did a review on a couple of weeks ago where they had like leg press and quad extension, hamstring curl, this and that. And then they did step ups, drop step lunges, and sit to stands wearing a vest and had just as great a return for leg strength, etc. And you know, you can only load so much in a vest, 10 to 20 pounds, maybe 30 if you really want to push it. And the rest on the machines, you can load up, you know, hundreds of pounds, etc. Had a very good return to that. So a vest is a great way to add a little bit extra load. And with our clients, we just had our Tuesday Vest Friend workout. Every Tuesday we wear our vest in our workouts. And every time the ladies go, oh yeah, I say, okay, we're all done, you can take them off now. They go, oh, I forgot I had this thing on. Like, that's my favorite thing to hear, because what just happened is you had an extra 10 pounds for every single rep that we just did. Every squat, every row, every press, every put, an extra 10, 10, 10, 10. So by the end of the day, we moved thousands of extra pounds of weight and you didn't even remember it. You didn't even remember that you were wearing it. That's fantastic. That's such a great way to go about it. So consider that vest training component.
Older people. So you can still put on muscle even getting older. In fact, Alan Aragon, he's another good nutrition person. He was posting a video of his father showing, I think his father was like over 80 years old and was doing goblet squats with like a 50-pound kettlebell. The amount of quality of life improvement you can get in people from resistance training throughout the course of their life or just getting them started regardless of age, it's a huge improvement in quality of life.
Boy, you can say that again. It 100% is a huge improvement in quality of life. If you did 20 minutes, 10 minutes, if you did 10 minutes of resistance training every day, 10 minutes of upper body push, pull, overhead, push, pull. You just did those 4 movements, these 4 machines. 10, 10, 10, 10. Around again, around again. Let's say that took you 10 minutes. The next day, you do the leg press, the quad extension, the hamstring curl, and the calf pump. I don't know, okay? You do those 4, 3 times around, 10 minutes. If you just did that, if you literally just did those 2 things, those 4 upper and those 4 lower, and you just kept alternating those every day for 10 minutes, and you use loads that are challenging, okay, not impossible, but challenging, anywhere from 8 to 30 reps, okay, in there that you're doing, as long as it's challenging load, you will see great returns. The most simple, and in one session, people will report that they just feel their musculature. They're like, I could feel my muscles again. This feels nice. They feel an energy burst. They feel more clear cognitively in their mind right after training. This is what you call the lifter's high. You've heard of the runner's high, very similar. It's just an endorphin kick from your body just pushing and challenging itself. You usually feel really good right after the workout, and that can carry on for a couple of hours. Then as the day goes on, your body now recognizes, I just pushed pretty hard during something today, even if it was just for 10 minutes. But because I had a high, what comes with highs? Lows. So now your body has a reason to shut down at night and go to sleep because it's exhausted from the high effort that you put out at some point. Where if your high effort of the day is walking to the kitchen to get food and then walking back to the couch to watch Columbo, like if that is the high that you've had today, which is not much, you've got just these little tiny undulations in your effort throughout the day, without the highs, there's no reason for a solid low. So why would 10 o'clock roll around and your body go, all right, we're tired, let's shut it off? Basically, if you just sat there all day with no stimulus and no activity and no effort, there's no low to recover from there's no high to recover from. So even a 10-minute bout of hard effort, doing these 3 or 4 machines, 2 or 3 laps around through it, that can produce enough of a high intensity effort to where later in the day you're ready to take a nap or sleep well at night. So you're going to improve your body's ability to sleep and recover and rest. Now, let's say you get really into this. These 10 minutes is actually becoming one of my favorite parts of the day. And you add 5 or 10 minutes to that. Let's say you double it. Now it's 20 minutes and you start putting in a little extra arm work or this or that, or you start adding some carries, just some basic stuff. Let's say you add 20 minutes to this routine. So every day it's 20 minutes by 5 days a week, right? We've got 100 minutes now that we are committed to improving our quality of life. How many minutes are there in a week? Let's do the math. Real quick, let's do this because I don't know. I know there's 168 hours. Okay, so we are going to do 168 hours times 60 minutes. Gives us 10,080 minutes in a week. And I'm asking for 100 of those. 20 minutes a day for 5 days out of the week. That's not even, let's take our 100 minutes and divide it by 7. Just on average, it's 14 minutes a day. On average, it's 14 minutes a day. And again, 5 days a week, 20 minutes, and just kind of work your way through it. Now, what would be ideal? Do something for 20 minutes every day. Especially if you're doing that split, upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower. Just do that 6 days a week. And then on Sundays or whatever day you want, go for a walk, go garden, go hiking, just go be active. That would improve quality of life, and you would fight off sarcopenia pretty much your entire life. You would have adequate muscle mass for whatever age you are to allow yourself, number one, a greater potential of living longer, a higher quality of life, reducing your risk of all the major diseases and injuries, etc. Again, we're not going to be able to overcome genetics, but on the average, the more muscle mass you have, the longer you will live, the better quality of life you will have, the more experience you will have in life as well. We don't have an obesity epidemic. We have a under-muscled epidemic. That is really the problem here, is our generations are growing up under-muscled. And so all of these other health concerns are then coming: over body fat, heart disease, cardiovascular, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We need to get people strong. This is the first and the best line of defense. We need to get people strong. And you can achieve that, as many of these studies show, with something as simple as 5 lifts every other day, 3 days a week for 15 minutes. That study shows all the way up to an hour a day, right? Or whatever it is you want to do. Commit. This is your life. Take full advantage of it. I want all 168 hours of those week, every one of those hours, to be as best they can for you. So why not invest a fraction of your time into making all the other experiences that much better, longer, happier, healthier, reduction in risk? Because at 80, I can still stand up straight and walk around and pick up things off the ground and not feel like I'm going to fall and break my hip and spend the rest of my life bedridden. That is the goal. Thank you, Dr. Lane Norton, and Dr. Peter Attia, and Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, and Dr. Huberman, and Dr. Galpin, and Dr. Israetel, and everybody else out there that is spreading the word that you've got to get strong, that doctors that are telling older people to not lift weights, etc., you're doing a massive disservice. Everybody can lift. If you can stand, if you can walk, if you can manipulate your body in any way, even if you can't stand, if you can still move your upper arms around, as long as you are capable of movement, you can resist and strain and improve your quality of life. I'm Robert Linkul with trainingtheolderadult.com. I hope you enjoyed today. Thank you all for being part of this, subscribing, liking the video, sharing with your friends, help build our community. Put up one video at least a week, if not more. If you have any comments or questions, throw them in the comment section down below. We really appreciate it. And we hope, as always, that you continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. We will see you in the next one. Take care.